Why is fall a riskier time for laminitis than spring? Two reasons. Your horse's hormones and the grass. When grass gets stressed out, it starts to hoard sugars and starches so that it can heal and grow in the future. Now in the fall, we have a couple of things happening. There's crazy weather, there's colder temperatures overnight, there might be a nice big rain with warm days where things are going to grow and get really green. And for horses at high risk of laminitis and colic, these increased sugars and starches, if they collect very rapidly in larger volumes in the hindgut, can trigger a case of laminitis or a case of gas colic. Then we also have to think about your horse's hormones. In the fall, your horse is starting to prepare his body for winter. They're growing a winter coat and they're adding layers of fat. And they do this with a chain of hormones. A horse will naturally increase their levels of ACTH and therefore cortisol and therefore insulin as they prepare for winter. The insulin is actually what helps their bodies retain those extra layers of fat to have reserves and warmth over the winter. But we also know that insulin is very closely linked to laminitis. Now, if you have a horse that is already at higher risk because they have a metabolic disorder like PPID, also known as Cushing's, or they're insulin resistant, in the fall, that extra increase in ACTH and cortisol and insulin can create an even higher risk for laminitis. Incidentally, the blood work for checking your horse's metabolic status is affordable and it's easy, and it can give you much needed insight into their overall metabolic health. So what can you do about it? One thing is to keep exercising your horse. Doesn't matter what the weather is. They need to stay moving and stay active. Avoid turning your horse out on pasture that is stressed. It's been mowed, you've had a drastic change in weather, or the evening temperatures are below about 40 degrees. If you have frosty mornings, all of those times will kind of create a little spike in those sugars. You can add or keep using grazing muzzles to not only reduce the amount of sugar and starch that's entering their hindgut, but the speed at which it does so. Check your horse's weight regularly to make sure that they are staying at a healthy weight and not getting either too rotund or not rotund enough. You can add hindgut buffers to their diet. These kind of neutralize the pH in the hindgut just in case there is an accidental overloading of sugars and starches. You might also need to reduce the NSC value of their bagged feeds. Ideally, if your horse is higher risk for laminitis and gas colic, you want to find a bagged feed and actually a forage that is below about 10% NSC. You can also add an omega-3 fatty acid supplement. I use Big Hoss by Outlaw Feed. And of course, check your horse's digital pulses every single day.